Alright, what's going on, you guys? Alex here with CMR Sports. I've rebranded my channel from Common Man Review over to CMR Sports. Just a little name change. Changed up my logos. Let me know how you guys think. What you guys think about that? Trying. Okay, so Carolina put on a dreadful showing against Atlanta. One of the few bright spots come out of this game was that we fought in this game and we kept ourselves in this game. Cam Newton was a big part of that. He went through some major letdowns from our receiving core and still had a very good, efficient game and did a lot of really nice things for us. With that being said, let's get into some of the breakdowns of this game. First things first. That was our offense. That was our offense. This receiving core that we rebuilt around Devin Funchess and Greg Olsen, added Torrey Smith, added Jarris Wright, added DJ Moore, added Ian Thomas, added CJ Anderson. Christian McCaffrey was supposed to step up, which he did actually. Christian McCaffrey almost set a NFL freaking record. He tied a Panthers record with 14 receptions. Steve Smith set that record, and McCaffrey tied it Sunday, and he was a big part of the reason we were still in the game. He and Wright were some of the only consistent chain movers that we had, and it really showed in this game with our lack of third down production. Cam Newton hit a lot of his targets. They just dropped them. 8 drops. Dez Bryant is a free agent receiver this year. I think he had something like 16 drops all of last year. And we had half of that in one game as a team. Of course, there were a few that were bad throws from Cam Newton. There were a couple. Obviously, there was one over the middle. Torrey Smith stood out to me because he had to jump up to get it. And I'm sure that would have counted as a drop. It should have in the stat book technically, but it wasn't a drop. He had no chance of corralling that ball. But then there were others, like the third down ball in the second half. On the first drive of the second half, we forced an Atlanta turnover. We forced Matt Ryan to throw a pick. We got pressure on him. We did something we hadn't done all game. And what does the Devin Funchess do? Drops it right through his hands. Okay, we give up a touchdown in the next play. It's 24-10. Cam Newton answers with a scoring drive late in the fourth quarter. Great, we get the ball back. Awesome, our defense is stepping up. Then what happens? We're driving. We're in the freaking red zone. Cam Newton throws a full check down pass to CJ Anderson. CJ Anderson bounces it off his hands, then his helmet into Brian Poole's hands. I believe it was Brian Poole. I may be wrong. Interception. Not Cam Newton's fault. His first turnover of the year. Obviously, we rebounded, made it a 24-31 game, and we had a chance to win it with 5 seconds left, but just couldn't fit in that window to DJ Moore. It happens. It's happened time and time again. We've always struggled in Atlanta. We've got to get something done about that. This was a step in the right direction. We just got to get our defense on par with our offense, and things are going to click heavily for this Panthers team, and we're going to be a contender. Okay, and so now then, I'm going to break some stuff down here. So, those 8 drops, I'm going to break them down by receiver. CJ Anderson, 2 targets, 2 drops. Unacceptable. I thought he was going to come in and be a power back and a pass protector. I never in my life thought he would be a receiving back. He's had some decent stats over the years, but, I mean, when you've got Christian McCaffrey coming out of your backfield, there's no excuse for that. Ian Thomas had 1 drop in the end zone that can kind of be put out as a rookie mistake because it was a very tight window pass. Cam did put it on the money. Greg Olsen I can say without a shadow of a doubt he most likely would have caught that ball. But it was not Greg Olsen out there. It was Ian Thomas, and he did not catch it. He will likely catch that ball in years to come, but not this year. Jarius Wright had one, and that was not an acceptable drop on his part either. He did have one he tried to corral. He almost did corral it. Probably would have counted as a drop also, but it was an errant throw from Cam Newton. But Jarius Wright, those were 2 incompletions on 7 targets. He had 5 first downs on 5 catches, including a touchdown. Hard to fault the guy. He did everything he could for us in this win. Hats off to him, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some things out of him in the future. DJ Moore had 0 drops, but he did only have 2 targets, one being the incompletion in the end zone on the very last play of the game, and the other being a 51-yard touchdown, his first touchdown as a receiver. Congratulations to that young man. McCaffrey had 0. He caught all 14 of his targets. Devin Funchess had 2 drops that I could see. One was that 3rd down that spiked my blood pressure to almost stroke levels because we were moving the ball. We had been doing some things well. We had plenty of opportunities in this game, but shit like that killed it. I mean, it did. Every time we would get momentum, we would just take that proverbial gun and just shoot ourselves in the foot every freaking time. If it wasn't drops, it was penalties. Don't know what to tell you. Torrey Smith had 0, but not a good game for him. He had 3 false start penalties. He had that in his entire career before this game. So not a good game from him by any stretch. Just because he didn't have a drop, that does not excuse the game he had. Our tackles, I was extremely impressed by. They played as well as you could expect them to. Taylor Moton with his 2nd start, and Chris Clark coming off the couch from the earlier that week. He started at left tackle, and he, for the most part, held his own. He allowed a few pressures, but some of that has to be credited to Cam Newton holding the ball, which he did, and, I mean, it's going to happen. And some of that's credited to the Falcons having 2 talented young edge rushers in Vic Beasley and Tack McKinley. Moton actually pitched a shutout in this game, and I was really impressed with that. He did have a holding penalty, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to protect the quarterback. And as I will get into later in this video, as sort of my parting words, that's important sometimes. The defense did not play well at all. We allowed 170 rushing yards, 240 some odd passing yards. Allowed Matt Ryan to rush for 2 touchdowns. Allowed Tevin Coleman to look like Adrian Peterson of old in this game. Some of the bright spots here were our corners. Bradbury allowed 5 catches for 77 yards and no touchdowns on the day. One was a 22-yard catch to Calvin Ridley, and then he gave up 4 catches to 55 yards for Julio Jones. I don't know about you guys, but 4 for 55 on one of the best receivers in the NFL right now, I'll take that every day of the week. I will take that. Bradbury is showing me some things, and I'm really looking forward to his career, as I am with Dante Jackson. He had some real ups and downs in this game. He had a pass interference call. He missed some tackles. He got shook out of his shoes by Tevin Coleman at one point. He allowed some catches that he really shouldn't have. But then there were plays where he played wise beyond his years and showed why he was one of the top corners in this draft. He did have the interception on Matt Ryan early in the 3rd quarter, on the first drive actually. And then he reads a route before Julio Jones can run it, undercuts the route, nearly intercepts the ball, except for a pass interference play on the safety. So but a good play individually from Dante Jackson. Just general thoughts on this game. Wasn't really impressed with a lot of what the Panthers did. I just went over a list of all the things I was impressed with. Some things I wasn't. We had some bright spots, and we had some bad spots. And when this offense works its kinks out, I think it's going to be one of the most dangerous in the NFL. Keep pounding, you guys. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook. Join